It's the Midday News on CoreTV News. I'm Nifemi Oguntoye. President Goodluck Jonathan appreciated the prayers of clerics in the nation at the church service in Lagos. The president, while acknowledging that the nation has had its difficulties, lauded church leaders for their fervent prayers. He, however, noted that the unity of the nation has been sustained by the prayers, urging them to continuously seek the face of God on behalf of the nation.
Part of your ministry of the world, but because of your prayers, this you are still living, the country is still living this stable. And of course, with your prayers, and with our own community, I surely bring this extreme for our so that our nation will move forward. God is also good because it depends so much on people like the others are coming down. Our prayers and commitment for government for sharing the truth. So let me use this to thank my brothers and sisters for your prayers for the nation, for your prayers for all of us, and to promise you that we'll do our best to make sure that as a nation, we go from strength.
While in Lagos, President Jonathan also met with youth groups in response to some questions ahead of the rescheduled March 28 presidential election. It was also requesting and answering questions rather on the issues of security. The president says that the federal government has received 65% of the weapons it ordered to execute the fight against insurgents.
About 65 to 70%, and of course that's why the prosecution of the war is getting better every day.
Where did you go now? Responding to questions on the epileptic power supply in the country, the president says it will be a thing of the past within the next 8 months. The Bring-Back girls has expressed concerns about what it describes as the silence of the authorities on efforts to rescue the 219 abducted Chibok girls more than 2 weeks into the renewed offensive against Boko Haram. The group made its concerns known in a statement issued in Abuja. It urged the government that the defense authorities needs to be forthcoming on how the rescue plans will be intersected with ongoing operations. It also wants the military to publish a list of towns and communities in northeast Nigeria still occupied by the insurgents. This, according to the protest group, is to clear the air on confusion over the communities that were taken over by Boko Haram before the renewed operation. Now, following strong indications alleging the British government's refusal to divulge intelligence information as regards the whereabouts of the more than 200 Chibok schoolgirls kidnapped by Boko Haram since April 14, 2014, the British government claims that revealing details of what it found out about the whereabouts of the abducted girls could clearly damage its relationship with Nigeria and other allies. This revelation comes after a UK-based group, Security in Africa, through its founder Ben Oguntala, wrote the British Ministry of Defense to request information on the Chibok girls. The group had earlier in January this year said it was setting up a task force to Sambisa Forest to secure the release of the abducted schoolgirls. It requested from the UK government to know the results and reports of the British Armed Forces, the details of where they searched, and the results of their findings. The British Defense Ministry insists that it would not release the details of where the UK soldiers searched and the results of their findings. It, however, shared details of the technology, technique and methodology used in the search. Not deterred at all by the response of the British MOD, Oguntola says his group would also approach the British Prime Minister to reveal what he can about the Chibok girls. The People's Democratic Party insists that the APC stage-managed the appearance of its presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari at Chatham House in London. It claims the questions he was asked were handed to him at least 2 days before the event. Spokesman for the PDP presidential campaign team, Femi Fani-Kayode, said this at the news conference in Abuja. He also argued that the real reason Buhari was in the United Kingdom was to see his doctors.
This is the first time General Buhari has admitted that anything good is happening in Nigeria under the watch of President Jonathan. General Buhari, however, lied when he said that the Jonathan administration, quote, has created two economies, one economy for a few who have so much in their tiny island of prosperity, and the other economy for the many who have so little in their vast ocean of misery, end of quote. General Buhari should have gone further by naming those he knows who live in their quote, tiny island of prosperity, end of quote, and who are bankrolling his presidential campaign, having told the whole world that he paid 27 million naira for his nomination form through a bank loan. Regrettably, General Buhari failed to admit the fact that but for the menace of terrorism, which he and his party tacitly support, our economy would have grown even faster and done even better. It is on record that every effort being made by President Jonathan and our gallant armed forces to combat the terrorists and arrest the scourge has always met stiff opposition from the APC and General Buhari. They were against emergency rule in the northeastern states and the proscription of the Boko Haram sect. The APC and its leaders have never deemed it fit to commend our military. This is simply due to the fact that without APC, there will be no Boko Haram, and without Boko Haram, there will be no APC. The two are linked, and their relationship is like the relationship that existed between the IRA and Sinn Féin. One feeds off the other. How are you doing? You just put it on.
Former Lagos State Governor Bola Tinubu has said that he is not scheming to become the next president of Nigeria through the back door, as claimed by the People's Democratic Party. He insists that the APC is seeking the presidency on a Buhari-Osinbajo ticket, and it would remain so. Speaking through his media aide, Sunday Dare, the national leader of the APC, said in a statement that the allegation exposed the confusion within the PDP. The former governor added that Buhari's running mate is one of many great talents in the opposition party who are prepared to deliver Nigerians from years of misrule. Meanwhile, the APC has raised the alarm over what it describes as the relentless scheming by the Jonathan administration and indeed the PDP to push for another postponement of the 2015 general elections unless they can perfect a rigging plan, and calls for the imposition of global sanctions on whoever scatters the polls. Now, it says that the same 23 satellite parties of the PDP that were used to push for the 6-week postponement of the elections have again started testing the waters by pushing for a further shift in the elections in the 6 states of the Northeast, ostensibly to allow the conclusion of the counterinsurgency battle and also to allow those displeased to return home. The party called on Nigerians, especially the civil society, to be very vigilant in the days ahead as the cloud of uncertainty becomes thicker and the vouchers begin to circle. The APC has also assured Nigerians that it will not introduce any harsh tax regime if its presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari wins the March 28 elections. It says it will rather use existing tax policies of government to fund its people-oriented programs. Spokesman for APC presidential campaign team Garba Shehu said in a statement that under the Jonathan administration, the Nigerian people and the business community are already reeling under multiple discriminatory and harsh tax regime. And on the sudden emergence of first queues in the Federal Capital Territory and some parts of the country, as well as the reduction in hours of electricity supply across the country, it says it's a sad reminder of the failure of PDP at the center. The party wondered how a political party which has been in power for 16 years and which is unable to ensure that its citizens enjoy regular food supply and steady power supply is confident enough to seek another term in office. APC insists in a statement issued in Abuja that the failure of the PDP government in the two areas is a sign of gross ineptitude, maladministration and corruption. We'll take a break now, and I'll be back with more stories. Stick around, don't go away.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
Thanks for joining us again. You can also get all of our top stories on any of our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. We're also trending on Twitter now. It's at CoreTV News NJ. And of course, you can also watch our programs and news live on YouTube. It's youtube.com/CoreTV, Live Space and News. Moving on now, All Progressives Congress candidate for the Lagos West Senatorial District in the 2015 general elections, Olamilekan Adeola, says the calls for the use of military during the election for security purpose is unfortunate. Adeola, who spoke to journalists in Lagos after a meeting with the American Consul General Tom Hanks, says the provision for security during elections is a strictly police affair, wondering why the calls for the involvement of the military has now become an issue. He added that the issue should be how to equip the police properly rather than taking their duties away from them. Osborne Jetty.
Need for the military, whose responsibility is to protect, provide security for us during the electioneering process. It's no other person than the Nigerian police. Are we saying that the men of the Nigerian police has failed in the discharge of their duty if one of their primary assignment, they cannot carry this assignment out? So let them be better equipped. Let them be better processed, because one of the main reasons why we have postponed this election from February 14 to March 28 is as a result of lack of security. And the only security we're referring to is the Nigerian military, who earlier assured Nigerians that they are prepared and ready for this election. But immediately after the Council of State meeting, they came out and said they need 6 weeks to fight insurgents in the northeast. And that is an assault. They are not ready for this election. And the question is, we can't continue like this. And that is why we have stood our ground and we are saying the military has no role to play as far as election is concerned in this country.
For his part, the American Consul General says the United States is only interested in elections because of its desire for the country's continued development. He added that he hopes for free, fair and credible elections to consolidate the nation's democracy.
Well, that's a really difficult question. I think you rightly pointed out that Nigeria is early in its democracy and it's developing, and like I just said, you know, the hope for free, transparent, and credible elections where people can go out and choose their leaders without the fear of violence is the most important thing. And I'm sure if that is achieved, that Nigeria's democracy will flourish. So I think that's about all I can say about that.
Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola says catching up on the infrastructure deficit in the country would require that the larger interest of the masses be the primary consideration on the provision of social amenities. Fashola made this call while speaking to journalists after inspecting the Osborne Jetty, whose construction has been stalled due to a court case instituted by residents of Osborne Estate. He also inspected a reclaimed park in the area.
Well, it's the real deep irony of the other issue that we discussed. You don't want a jetty because you claim that your area is a residential area, but residents have to move, don't they? Now, this is a green area by the freeway, and we, in our planning and urban development, this thing, it's a green area, and we decided to create an open park here, plant trees, so that residents, adjoining communities can come and the children can play here, families. I mean, you see all these parks across the world. And you see, in fact, if you look just behind you there, you see a child playing on concrete tile. Look, just look. That boy is playing football right on the road. It shouldn't happen. You see, and you see a car coming. Now, if we had built this park, this is the place for football. And so this is a tragedy of the choices before us. But unfortunately, again, trying to create a green area, what do we have? People want to build here. And so we're just going to have to apply the law now and do what we need to do. Some claim that federal government gave them land. Federal government has no title to land. The Constitution does not give federal government land. Land is a residual matter in all the states. And that is why even if you look in the Land Use Act, you will see that all the states of the Federation, the governor is the trustee of the land for the people of that state, not the federal government.
Thank you, Excellency.
As motorists in different parts of the country continue to lament what they describe as artificial scarcity of petroleum products and the rise in price against the official price, especially that of premium motor spirit known as petrol, queues are gradually now returning to filling stations. In Lagos, CoreTV News crew visited some of the filling stations in the city to feel the pulse of the motorists.
We never thought that it's supposed to be like this. It has happened at Lagos. At the same time, we perceived it when we were at Ibadan, a day before yesterday. But it's not something that we can bear anymore. It's also give a sign that this economy, that's why we are still a country that we are producing. We are among the people that having this crude oil. We are not supposed to be having maybe experience this kind of fuel scarcity in Nigeria.
I don't even like this situation of the scarcity of fuel. I don't like it because anytime they want to reduce the fuel price, they will make sure that there be scarcity of fuel. I don't know.
I just came to get fuel out of church and I ran into this. For me, I think it's really very stupid because there's really no reason for it. Yesterday, I was watching the television and I saw petrol scarcity in Abuja and I thought, what is all this about? But I just heard this in the station now that they want to reduce the pump price. Now, if you want to reduce pump price, does it not make economic sense for you to even sell than to hoard? I don't understand it.
Like this morning, okay, I'm traveling now, so I've been to 5 different filling stations before getting here. So I was surprised to just met the whole place deserted. So except that's why I had to queue. So I've been on this queue now for about 1 hour now before getting to this spot. So I believe government has a major role to play in this matter. So, and I believe if government can just wake up to our responsibility and do something about it.
We'll take another break now and we'll be back with more stories. Don't go away.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Outside Nigeria now, tens of thousands of people have marched through central Moscow to honor opposition politician Boris Nemtsov, who was shot dead on Friday by a yet-to-be-identified gunman. They carried portraits of Nemtsov and banners saying, "I'm not afraid." He had been due to lead an opposition march on Sunday, but his killing turned the event into a mourning rally. Nemtsov's allies have accused the Kremlin of involvement, but President Vladimir Putin condemned the murder as vile and vowed to find the killers. Opposition supporters gathered at a point not far from the Kremlin before marching past the spot on Great Moskovsky, the bridge where Nemtsov was killed. Several thousand people have also marched in St. Petersburg. New CCTV pictures appear to show 3 UK schoolgirls on the Turkish leg of what is believed to have been their journey to join Islamic State in Syria. Shamima Begum and Amira Abbas, both 15, and Khadija Sultana, 16, flew from London to Istanbul on 17 February. The images show them waiting at Barampasa bus station later same day. Scotland Yard believes the Bethnal Green Academy students are now in Syria and are thought to have been met at the border by ISIS militants. Reports say the girls waited in the offices of 2 bus companies at the station before taking a bus to Ofra, close to the Syrian border, on 18th February. From there, they are thought to have been driven to a border crossing point by people smugglers. Now, time codes on the CCTV images suggest the girls were at the bus station, which is on the European side of Istanbul, for nearly 18 hours. The 5 images were taken between 20:27 local time, 18:27 GMT, on 17 February, and 13:22, that's 11:22 GMT, on 18 February. A group of waiting waiting ISIS men, I beg your pardon, immediately picked them up with cars. And they had flown from London's Gatwick Airport to Turkey after telling their parents they were going out for the day. And that wraps it on the Midday News. Do join us again at the top of the hour for more stories. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Thanks for being there.